Hi there, it's Debbie from celestialastrologyhealing.co.uk, and today I'd like to talk about the new moon in Scorpio tomorrow. That's Monday, the 13th of November at 9:26 Universal Time or GMT. So it depends on where you are in the world. If you're new to my channel, press the subscribe button if you like my offerings, and like or put any comments below if anything of this resonates with you. So first of all, I'd like to share an image of Scorpio and talk about the energies and also the planetary weather in the heavens that are leading up to this new moon in Scorpio. So as you may have noticed with my quite gloomy, it's like there's an energy that I've got in the background of my actual image of where my face is, because they're very scorpionic colors. Scorpio being ruled by the ancient planet in ancient astrology, Mars, the god of war. So the sun and the moon will be at 20 degrees Scorpio, 33 minutes, co-present with the Mars, the ruler of Scorpio, conjoined or conjunct within a couple of degrees. So this is going to be a really powerful new moon in Scorpio. When the moon is in Scorpio, at this time of year, it's the sun's in Scorpio, it's Scorpio season, and then the moon is conjoined with Scorpio. So we get one new moon in each sign of the zodiac every year. And this particular one is going to be really powerful. So with this image here, I've picked a few images to share. Scorpio, the scorpion, he's poised, ready with these pincers, like Mars is like cutting, pierces things, can sever and cut and separate, because Mars is the warrior planet, and Scorpio is a hard-shelled, protective, archetypal image representing this time of year, the scorpion. It's a bit like Cancer, the crab, with the hard shell protecting the tenderness within. And Scorpio is a water sign, fixed water sign, feminine, because all water signs are feminine or yin energy. And I've shown this as an image of it's a new moon, but actually we're going to be at the dark of the moon at new moon, because you never see a crescent for about 2 or 3 days. Here's another image of the new moon, and this must be the constellation of what Scorpio looks like in the heavens. So keywords for Scorpio, when we think about Mars ruling this deeply passionate sign, sometimes Scorpio has a bad reputation because in modern astrology anyway, there's a sense that Scorpio is a very sexual sign. It's related to power, and intense feelings. And that's certainly true. Scorpio isn't afraid to face the depths of the darkness of shadow things, of taboo subjects like death, endings, power, sexuality. And the shadow side of Scorpio certainly could be things like possessiveness, jealousy, resentment. And Mars in Scorpio emphasizes those sort of potential energies. But at the same time, thinking of fixed water, Scorpio is a very deep sign of the zodiac. There's power when we can reflect inwards and go into the darker aspects of ourselves, acknowledging what lies beneath. That's not always seen. And certainly Scorpio is a very secretive sign of the zodiac, very private, hiding things beneath in the dark waters. In modern astrology, Pluto is the ruler of Scorpio, which again is about the depths, because Pluto is Hades, god of the underworld, and he abducted Persephone and took her to make her his wife, basically raped her and fell in love with her and took her to the underworld. Certainly Persephone made some sense of making this a positive experience, because she decided as well to take the seeds of the pomegranate, which meant she had to stay there. And she certainly has power, and it's to do with hidden treasures beneath the depths. So sexual, intense energies, things that are hidden. There's treasures beneath the dark earth, like seeds that are sitting dormant, ready to come to life. Also treasures such as jewels that can come. So there's this energy around Scorpio, which is very powerful, intense, dark, deep, secretive, but also it's a fixed sign. So there's power, there's intensity, there's determination around Scorpio energy. It's a bit like the detective who's able to perceive and pick up the undercurrents of what's happening without any words, you know, that picking up with a sensitive radar. So Scorpio natives, or if you have planets in Scorpio, you will have these tendencies to be quite private, keep certain parts of yourself hidden, and feel things in a very deep or intuitive and maybe psychic level as well. So this last image here shows the crescent moon after the new moon, and I thought this is a good image because it shows the reflection of the scorpion in the waters. So it's about reflecting inwards, feeling what's really going on beneath the surface, and tapping into that intuition, perception, deep feelings, emotions, things like that. And certainly at this time in our lives here on planet Earth, there are lots of dark things happening, lots of power struggles, lots of injustices, you know, with the various wars and things like that. So I don't really go into the mundane astrology, as I feel like we can work within our own sphere of life, working on ourselves, working amongst our friends, family and community, and sending out brightness to help heal what's going on in the world from the sense of the grassroots up. So let me now show you a chart of the actual new moon in Scorpio. So before I continue, maybe if you're new to my channel, as I said, if you like my offerings, press the subscribe button. That encourages me to do more sharings. I do find this sort of tech quite challenging, and this is my second attempt because I was logged out of my Zoom where I work at Centaur Design, and now I'm back home trying it again. And later, maybe get a pen and paper as well, because I'm going to give you some information. If you've never had your chart done, you can write down a few notes, or you can pause this recording. I'm going to share something showing the house systems, because today I'm not going to be going into each sign of the zodiac. I've only prepared some of them, and because it's new moon tomorrow, I'm just putting it out there. But if you listen to what I'm saying, and then you can look at the houses based upon your various ascendants, then you can piece the pieces together and do a little bit of work for yourself. So let's just bring up the annotate tool here for you so you can see what's actually happening. So we have the stellium of planets. When there's 3 or more planets, we have the sun and the moon at 20 degrees Scorpio, 43 minutes, co-present with Mars. Let me bring here's Mars, the ruler of Scorpio here. So this chart would be set for Sagittarius ascendant, because Sagittarius is in the 9 o'clock position here. And also I will go into the other energies of what's happening with this opposition from Uranus here in Taurus at 21 degrees, because this could potentially be quite a volatile energy around Uranus, bringer of sudden, unpredictable, shocking, destabilizing energies in Taurus. You know, on a mundane level, it can be like weather conditions really crumbling, things, earthquakes, very destabilized, Earth getting broken up, shocking events, destabilizing. At the same time, there's a sort of energy around Uranus of innovation, sudden insights, new ideas, electric bolts of inspiration and thoughts. But when Uranus will be opposing Mars, the god of war, you know, there's this potential for thinking, okay, what can this bring up? You know, Uranus likes to bring really curved balls to the table, and Mars is the god of war, passion, intensity. So, you know, when Uranus is opposite Mars, for everybody, you know, this is going to be potentially quite a volatile and difficult aspect. So just being aware of taking things a bit slower would be wise, driving a bit slower, and also acknowledging, you know, if you're feeling triggered and you just feel like sudden, you know, negative reactions to situations might come up. Take a breather, step back, acknowledge something's happening in the heavens, as above, so below, can affect us all on our own personal level. And it depends, you know, where your ascendant is in your chart. And you can look in the comments below to cast your own chart using astro.com. And you put in your name, place, and crucially time of birth. You can create your own free account and do your own chart. And then you could look at interpretations from various astrologers like myself on YouTube. So yeah, let me just think about what else was happening. So I was going to go back. I'm going to keep the chart up, but let's look at the planetary weather around leading up to this new moon. So, well, before I say that, new moons give us the opportunity to plant seeds of new intentions, of things that we'd like to bring forward in our lives, introduce new seeds of what we'd like to manifest. So we get a new moon and then we get a full moon 2 weeks later. So on a short time scan, this would come up to be a full moon in Gemini on the 27th of November. But I think more intensely and more likely for all these new seeds, there will be a full moon in Scorpio. So this is the new moon. And 6 months later in the Taurus season, that's when we will get the full moon in Scorpio on the 24th of April 2024. So that's more likely of when whatever we're trying to harvest with these new seeds and new beginnings, which are likely to be quite unexpected, with Uranus opposing the sun and the moon at 20 degrees Scorpio. These things can come to fruition around the full moon on the 24th of April 2024. So just watch this space and choose wisely, but at the same time be aware that you might just suddenly go off in a new direction that you're not expecting with this Uranus opposite this new moon aspect here and this planetary weather. But before the new moon, we've got Pluto at the last degrees of Capricorn. Pluto is now direct at 28 degrees Capricorn, 9 minutes. So Pluto has been oscillating, dipping its toe into Aquarius around March 2023, going back. He will be going back into Aquarius on the 21st of January and then going back, and then September to then eventually November 2024. That's when Pluto will be staying in Aquarius, and Pluto takes 248 years to go around the whole zodiac. Hasn't been in this area of life for that period of time. And when we look back at Pluto transits, it was times of great revolutions, breaking down old structures, and certainly, you know, that's what's going on in the world. There's a lot of upheavals, but on a personal level, Pluto gives you the opportunity to tie up ends, find your own power, work out these things, find the treasures in your life to walk in your own power. And it will depend on where Pluto is in your personal birth chart. And as I was saying, this is set for Sagittarius ascendant, so that would be the second house here. So that's going on in the background hum there. And then on the 4th of November, Saturn went direct at 0 degrees 35 minutes in Pisces here. So he's slowly moving forward now. When a planet has been retrograde and there's a station, and it's like a slow ocean liner, really, really creeping forward at a very slow speed. So again, this Pisces area of your life will be quite crucial for the next 2.5 years. And Saturn got to about 7 degrees in June 2023 before retrograde. And so Saturn will be going back over old grounds and trying to create some long-term structures in this very fluid and changeable house of Pisces, which is symbolized by the fish swimming in opposite directions. So that's another background planet. And in ancient times, Saturn was seen to be the boundary planet, Kronos, Lord of Time. So he represents challenge, what's missing, some sort of having to step up and take responsibility. There can be difficulties and feelings of isolation or burden, but at the same time, Saturn is a great teacher and encourages us to gain wisdom through perseverance and endurance and working hard. So again, it would depend where this Pisces area is in your chart to know where Saturn is going through the heavens over the next wee while. And then looking at Venus, the goddess of love, beauty, and harmony, the arts. She is Aphrodite. She's recently moved into the house that she rules, one of the houses that she rules, Libra here. She also rules the sign of Taurus, where Uranus is at the moment. But the air sign, symbolized by the scales, Venus has moved into one of her temples, so it improves her dignity because she was in fall in this house of Virgo, which may have been like quite critical, working hard, seeing the faults in situations. But now she's in Libra. She's much more concerned with finding balance, harmony, and she's able to use her natural skills of bringing love and peace and recognizing, you know, when things aren't actually right, because she is about pleasures in our life. She's about striving to find balance and justice and knowing what's wrong in the world and what's out of balance. So potentially this Venus in Libra as another background hum in the planetary weather can help us try to, you know, have a sense of trying to understand the other, because it's about partnerships and relationships. So there's potentially a positive flavor from Venus there, although she is co-present with the south node of the moon, which is Ketu, shown by this symbol here, which looks like a horseshoe. And we did recently have a solar eclipse on the 14th of October. So that was a new moon solar eclipse in Libra. So there will be a point where she goes back over that point in the heavens on the 27th and the 28th of October. So that may stir up some themes around that solar eclipse, which can unfold a new beginning in the Libran house, wherever that is in your personal birth chart. So, and then we've got Mars, which will be applying to oppose. Well, Mars has just been, from the 9th of November, was opposing Uranus in Taurus. Mars is now at 22 degrees 11, so just moved about a degree past that exact perfection of that. You know, so there's, and this will be, was exact on the 11th of November, but still within a separating orb. We have a 3-degree orb. So Mars will be still within this aspect to Uranus. And it can be quite volatile, as I mentioned before, because Mars doesn't mind a battle. He doesn't mind fighting for what he believes in. And Uranus is the disruptive, explosive, unpredictable planet of destabilization. And because both Scorpio and Taurus are Earth fixed signs, fixed water, which is Scorpio, and fixed Earth, which is Taurus, there's a sense of not really wanting to shift with those sort of you know, solid beliefs or passions that make you who you are. You know, so this is representing sort of some sense of, you know, potentially sort of intense feelings and reactions, passion felt, destructive energies, which we can see all around us in the world. But on a personal level, we can take responsibility for how we react and how we respond, recognizing these undercurrents of what's going on in the heavens, taking a breath and being conscious of what's brewing, what's coming up to the surface before reacting. And that can be helpful for all of us. Because if we all just like spurted off anger and resentment and, you know, blame, all of these negative Scorpio energies, you know, the world is just not going to heal and not going to come into balance. So on a positive slant, Mars and Scorpio opposite Uranus and Taurus, this may offer heightened passion and drive blended with innovative and unusual ideas. with the potential for shifts in, you know, our everyday life. So watch out for that. So another thing I'd like to point out is for the inner planet, Mercury, messenger of the gods. Where are you, Mercury? There you are. Mercury has just on the 10th of November until the 12th of November, he is in Sagittarius, and he will be squaring Saturn in Pisces. So Mercury is the planet of communications, travel, mercantile things, communicating, interacting with others, the movement that journeys through life, selling things as the merchant. So in Sagittarius, Sagittarius is a really broad thinking sign of the zodiac, the archer aiming the arrow high into the heavens, trying to achieve and travel as far as possible with the brightest and most optimistic outlook, which is great, you know, for the higher mind to be satiated with beliefs in other things. But sometimes, because Mercury is in detriment in Sagittarius, being the ruler of Gemini, the opposite sign, there can be some broad strokes, you know, maybe not seeing all the details, or just like, you know, washing over things that you don't really want to talk about or hear about, and just like positive slant on things, you know. So there could be some unclear communication. So watch out for that, some mistruths, or some sort of sense of not really being told the whole truth about certain things. But with the square to Saturn, the square is a 90-degree angle. That was happening, and it will be happening today, square, but moving away from that square. You know, Saturn will be encouraging a sense of a reality check, you know, bring it down to earth, you know, aim high, think big, but, you know, cement it in some sort of sense of reality. And also Venus is offering a sextile aspect here from Libra to Mercury here. So again, some sense of peace, harmony, recognizing other people's feelings and thoughts, and also wanting things to be more peaceful, respectful, and harmonious. So Mercury remains in Sagittarius until the 1st of December. What else was I going to talk about? I think at this point, what I'm going to do is share a screen of the houses. So as I was saying, this new moon is shown for the new moon in Scorpio for Sagittarius ascendant. So different signs of the zodiac will have this new moon in different houses. I don't think I've printed off this bit because I've decided not to do it. But okay, let me just go briefly through. If you know your rising sign, for Sagittarius, it will be in the 12th house. For Scorpio, let me get this right. Is it the 2nd house? Let me just pause this and double check, because I don't want to give wrong information. Let me just double check these things. Get this back up. Just stop that share. Yeah, so just as well I checked. Sometimes I get my brain goes backwards, or this chart goes backwards. So obviously Scorpio ascendant, this will be happening in your 1st house. So this is a chart here that I'd like to share with you. So it might be worth you pausing the screen here and having a look at the significance of all these different houses. This is based on whole sign house system. I would suggest using, if you're using a free program like astro.com or AstroSeek. So let me just point out the houses start here at the 9 o'clock position. It says 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So if you're a Scorpio ascendant, the new moon will obviously be happening in the 1st house, which is about you. It's the helm of the ship. It's Mercury's joy in ancient astrology. It's about your body, your appearance, your identity, your outlook. So this new moon in Scorpio would be giving you this new opportunity to sort of renew yourself in a way that you want to be in the future. And there could be some big sudden changes happening with that Uranus opposite there. So that's quite an interesting thing. You can look into it more yourself. I'm not really going to be going into meanings other than pointing out the houses here. So that's Scorpio, 1st house. If we went to Libra, this would be happening in your second house, which is about your resources, your income, your finances, what you appreciate, what you take into your body, your self-worth, things like that. This new moon in Scorpio will be related to that: earnings, money, finances, insecurity. And there could be a new way of doing things in relation to those topics in the future. And especially, you know, be aware that there could be some sudden upheavals in related to that, which may shift you into doing things in a different way. So that would be Libra ascendant. Virgo ascendant, this will be happening in your third house. I don't know if you can see the arrow here because I've got my annotate tool here. So the third house here in ancient astrology was known as the house of the goddess, and it's related to local environment and neighborhood around your home. It's not your home, but it's around your home. It's the short journeys you make around and about, short journeys. It's your communications. It's sometimes to do with siblings, aunts and uncles. I see here there says witchcrafting, because this house used to be known as the house of the hermit in times gone by. And it's about teaching and writing as well. So if you use an online presence, Virgo ascendants, this could be something new for you for the future. But bear in mind, there's the Uranus opposite, so that might trigger up new inventive ideas or different ways that you do things in the future. And remembering again, this new moon may unfold over the next 6 months, not showing up until the 24th of April 2024, when there will be a full moon in Scorpio. So moving on to Leo ascendant. If you are a Leo ascendant, this will be happening in your fourth house, which is the place of rest, the place of home, family, roots, ancestry. It's very much about our ancestors and those that have gone before us, that connect us to who we are, the heritage. In ancient astrology, the fourth house is father. It could be parents. It can be land and property. It's a place of rest that you come back to. So potentially here, Leo ascendants, there's going to be big new opportunities for new home or new place of rest that you go back to. It's the hidden place beneath the earth, the subterranean at midday. So the fourth house is about home, and something sudden with Uranus giving you a new beginning, a new way of doing things. So if you are a Cancerian ascendant, this will be happening in the fifth house, which was known as Venus's joy in ancient astrology. It's the house of pleasures. It's good fortune. It can include romance, sex, love affairs, creativity, pregnancy, children, for those of you that are in that period of your life where you're still fertile. It's also about it can be birth, obviously related to that as well, pregnancy and birth. Otherwise, if you're in the latter years, like a MAGA, like myself, a wiser woman, it can be about your entrepreneurial gifts that you still have to offer the world, something that you can create that you offer to the world. So there can be something new here, which is related to bringing something to birth to offer to the world, Cancerians. And there could be that Uranus offering big shifts. It also might be a new relationship, a new love relationship that comes in with that Uranus opposite the new moon there. I realize I am giving slight interpretations. I'm finding this chart very helpful, actually, as I go through it. I wasn't intending to really go into that. I was just explaining the houses, but yeah. So here we go, onto Gemini. This is happening in your sixth house, Gemini. This was known as the house of Mars's joy, therefore bad fortune. Venus is good fortune, being a benefic planet, but now Mars, the god of war, battles, fighting, severing ties, you know, it can be bad fortune, in ancient terminology anyway. So the sixth house is related to your everyday life, work, routines, co-workers, the workplace. It's service to others. It can be about self-sacrifice. So this new moon is in this area of life. It can be about illness as well, injury, illness, either physical or psychological. So there could be some sense of new beginnings here or unexpected things triggering big shifts in your daily life routines and work life, with Uranus opposite in the house of Taurus. So that's for Gemini ascendants. So Taurus ascendants, Taurus is the opposite house to Scorpio. So Taurus ascendants, this will be happening in your house of relationships, the opposite house to self. The self is the first house, and always opposite is the house of relationships. And we don't really learn about ourselves until we interact with others so much. It's how we learn, you know, reflections, how we have to learn to share, how we work about balance. You know, so Taurus ascendants, this house of relationships, the other, partnerships. It can be your clients if you have an audience that you serve as well. So there could be a new way of thinking about how you interact in personal relationships with others. These can be romantic, marriage type, sexual relationships as well, with Uranus maybe just bringing in completely different curved ball to how this works for you in your life, Taurus ascendants. And if you're Aries ascendant, it will be happening in your 8th house, which is opposite the house of Libra. That was the 2nd house for Libra. So it's the 8th house. So as you can see here, it's about, it's usually other people's monies. It's money from others. It could be your partner's money because it's a 2nd derived house from the partnership house. If you don't have a partner, it could be money that comes in through unexpected ways, or inheritances, because this is also the house of death in modern astrology, and it's also the house of anxiety, fears, you know, going deep into the mystical realms here. So it can be to do with debts, loans, mortgages, repayments, inheritances, and it's also the esteem of others. So it's how others see you and your worth and what you bring to the table. It's a house of karmic debt. So there's maybe a new way of doing things here, Aries, in the 8th house, with Uranus opposing from the 2nd house. So again, any oppositions need to find balance of that fulcrum point. So moving on to Pisces, this new moon in Scorpio will be happening in your 9th house, which is opposite the house of Goddess in the 3rd house. It's the house of God. It's about the higher mind, your philosophies, your spiritual or religious beliefs, journeys afar, foreign shores, other cultures, the worldview. It can also be about higher education. So and study, and it can point to you being the person that is the teacher if you've got the wisdom. It can be the house of gurus and teachers, priests, people in high esteem, places that you learn from. So for Pisces ascendant, this new moon in Scorpio might represent a new way of thinking, using your mind and your belief system, or it might indicate new studies, new ways of taking in knowledge in higher education or spiritual journeys or pilgrimages, things like that, with Uranus again bringing something completely unexpected to the table there. So just be mindful of that over the next 6 months, Pisces ascendants. And then I'm going backwards here. So Pisces, done Aries. I think I've gone out of sequence. Aquarius, this will be happening, no I haven't, in your 10th house. The 10th house was known as the house of praxis in ancient astrology, action. What you're seen to do in the public world, it's directly above in this 10th house here. It's highly visible. It's about your public status, how your image and your reputation. It's not always the same midheaven house as it's shown here, because we use the whole sign house system, and that can shift. In equal house system, perhaps that would be the same, but it's not always your midheaven, which is your, either you pronounce it medium coli or medium celli. I've heard somebody say medium celli, and I was pronouncing it medium coli for years and thought, oh, I've got that wrong. But yeah, MC, medium midheaven, is your directional focus through life, what you're pulled to traverse, to follow that sort of unspoken magnetic drive, you know. So midheaven is that, and it may be the same as your 10th house of career, visibility, profession, If you're not working, it's about your vocations in life and what you're seen to do publicly and how others see you in the public sphere. So, and in ancient astrology, it was the house of the mother. So that would be for Aquarius ascendants. And going back to Capricorn ascendants, this would be your 11th house, which is known as the house of Jupiter's joy. Jupiter being the largest planet of the solar system, opposite Venus. Venus's joy, the 5th and the 11th are in opposition. So it's a benefic planet, about expansion, growth, opportunities, reward, recognition, gifts. So this could be very helpful for you Capricorn ascendants. It's about your hopes and wishes, community, groups, allies, friends that support you. And it also can be money from your career if you are in your working phase of life, because the 10th house is career, and this is a second derived house from the 10th house, which is about money made from your career. Again, it could be audience as well, people that support you. It can be about your aspirations in life. So there's something new here beginning, Capricorn ascendants, related to this area of your life, your hopes and wishes, or communities and groups that can be of benefit to you, with an unexpected slant coming in from Uranus. So the last one, I think I've already said Sagittarius because that's how I started off, but let me just mention it again because I haven't really gone into this chart. If you're a Sagittarius ascendant, this is the hidden house. It's the house of Saturn's joy in ancient astrology. It's the most distant place from the first house, the helm of the ship, Mercury's joy. So we go around anti-clockwise here. This is why I get muddled up sometimes. So the hidden house, Saturn's joy, can be a place of isolation, privacy, retreat. They're saying bad spirit here as well, because sometimes it can be known as the house of self-undoing. It can be the bad habits that we can fall in, or how we beat ourselves up on a private level, going into more negative traits or addictive habits that aren't healthy for us. So therefore mental health can be related to this 12th house, but it can be places that are hidden away. They can be places like prisons, refuges, hospitals, hospices, libraries, retreat centers. You know, so there's something about looking deep within your own psyche, Sagittarius. It's about recognizing your dreams, deep within the subconscious things that are hidden within. If you can take time to tune in to the messages that are coming to you from these other realms, it can be a new beginning for you, with Uranus from your house of Taurus, the daily life and routine. So maybe new shifts in what you're going to bring about in your daily life after tuning in to these hidden realms that are in the subconscious areas of our life. And it can also be about compassion for others that are suffering, maybe tuning into what you can offer others. Quite often people that have a lot of planets in the 12th house, they're not addicts, they're not like struggling with their own mental health. They actually help or work in hospitals and work with people that are struggling as well. So sometimes it's called the house of hidden enemies as well. So that's something there. What else was I going to say? I can't think at the moment. But yeah, I hope that's helpful. There was something else I was going to say. Yeah, I usually go into showing what's going on there, but I just thought I wanted to get this new moon in Scorpio video out there, and I want people to just think about how we can all individually help what's going on in the world by rippling out positivity from these difficult dark times. But from the darkness, you know, looking deep beneath, there can be positives when we face the shadow side of ourselves and what's going on in the world, and not to feel powerless, taking that time that we can focus on sending out light and love for healing in the world. And we're supposed to be all shifting our consciousness. You know, I think certainly being open to doing things in different ways, which break the mold of how we've always done things in the past, embracing the unknown, the changes that are necessary for us to move into a new way of being in this life. So I hope that's helpful for you. If you're interested in a personal reading, I think I'm going to put something out which offers people a special offer for Christmas. If you want to buy a reading for anybody else, I think I'm going to offer a reading for £50 instead of £85, which can be gifts for people to have a personal chart reading and looking at the major transits that are happening in the heavens, and also the eclipses which are happening. So yeah, check in below. I'll put my website address there, and these can be gifted at Christmas, and readings can be done in January, February next year. So thanks for listening. Happy new moon. There's always something positive to think about. When I say happy, I'm a double Sag, I'm a Leo moon, and I'm full of positive things and hope, because we have to be hopeful in times that are going on, so that we can have a sense that we are not powerless, that we have a meaning. We've chosen to live at this time in our lives. So we need to be hopeful and see what we can do and see what we can offer the world. So bye for now.